What happens when survival mode enters the relationship? When stress follows you home? When burnout changes how you communicate? And when love starts feeling more like pressure than partnership? Welcome back to Aligned Anyway. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Josh.
Today, we're talking about burnout, work culture, and the power dynamics that happen when one person starts caring more than the other. And honestly, this conversation came from real life. Watching someone you love slowly disappear into stress is hard, especially when companies normalize exhaustion, call it dedication.
And the crazy part is people get praised for it, being constantly available, always fixing problems, always sacrificing themselves. Burnout became normal instead of alarming.
Exactly. So today we're talking about what stress does to relationships, identity, and the people trying to hold everything together. So let's get into it. But before we do, we want to have a little fun before it gets a little serious.
That's right.
So we're going to do some rapid fire roundtable, and I'm going to kick it off to Josh to start us off.
All right, I figured we would just get in some provocative questions, get a little messy, get us thinking a little bit. Maybe hopefully get us laughing a titch. What do you say?
Down. I
Okay.
always love a good laugh, especially before I'm about to have a little bit of a rant. So,
All
ease
right.
into there.
Okay. So, what about if your friend's ex follows you? Are you going to follow them back if, for example, they left on good terms in the relationship and that friend still talks to them?
No, because what do we need to talk for? Unless they're like legit friends with my friend. But if they're not and they're not like actually in my friend circle, I don't fuck with you.
Mm, okay. I don't know. I feel like what if you were friends all together at the same time? You guys met maybe at like a club. It would be hard, especially if that friend is equally as much of a friend as the other person. I don't know. That would be hard for me.
I mean, I guess I could see that. Honestly, like my bestest friend from high school, she actually met her husband through me because I switched high schools a lot in Dallas. And so he and I were friends, and then she and I are friends, but they have a relationship. My loyalty is to her. And so when they went through their break, and they're married now, when they went through their break, it's funny because like at their wedding, he like called me out and he was like, "Yeah, you totally just shut me out when she did." And I was like, "Hey man, I'm loyal, bro. That's how it goes." But
Girl
you back in the
power.
circle.
Girl power.
Exactly, exactly.
That's right. Oh, that was
So
weird. You see the balloons?
I know, where did that
Do a
come
peace
from?
sign. Riverside. Wow, that
What
was
is
fun.
that? I don't know.
Okay.
Guys, if you're watching, you got a little bit of a show with that. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how to make these emojis come up, but they
Thanks,
do.
Riverside. That was awesome.
Right.
Wow.
So someone leaves you on red but posts on Instagram. What are you doing?
Calling them out.
I knew you would say that.
I'd be like, excuse me, or you know what I would do? I'm even messier. I would message you on Instagram because I know you read that shit and I know where you're at now. So I'm gonna follow you just to be a fucking messy ass.
I could see you doing that. I don't say anything. I like will probably internalize it and be like, they're ignoring me and then overthink it, but never say anything and then say something later, like passive aggressively or something like that. But honestly, people do it to me and I do get offended. I'm like, yeah, I didn't feel like answering your text at that moment, but that has nothing to do with me, posting unless it's like a specific, like important question or something like that. Like, I'm very much protective of my time and I will get to you when I get to you. And me posting on social media does not take the same labor that it may take to answer a text back, especially with this overthinking brain. So when people have done that to me, I've left them on red and on Instagram too, and been like, and then kept posting, which I could see being a bit shady.
Yeah, I think. All right, I got another one for you. So, what about if you accidentally see your friend's situationship on Tinder?
Mm. This has happened. I screenshot that shit and I send it to her.
I'm sure it ends very much after that. Very pretty much right
I
then.
mean, I don't know. I was like, hey, don't know what the situation is, right? Because it's a situationship. So maybe it's open. Maybe, they're not together yet. So I don't know. So, but I definitely will screenshot that shit and be like, hey, do with this what you will. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot me though.
Hmm. Understood.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one's an easy one. I think anyone with integrity to them would do the same thing.
So you found out someone that you hate stalks your stories instantly every time. What you doing?
Probably blocking them because why do I have them on my social medias if I hate them? That would be weird.
Exactly. I think, well, I don't know. Sometimes that could be a little petty. And if I know someone's like stalking me and I'm like, let me post all the highlight shit to really just fuck with your shit. But that's honestly like probably, I would say, college Tiffany when I was trying to be petty or I cared about that. And now I'm at a place where if I don't fuck with you, I'd really rather you not know what's going on in my life. I'd rather you not be looking at my Instagram stories. Like, I don't want you privy to anything that has to do with me.
Mhm.
Unless you want to listen to the podcast, I'm totally down with having my haters listen to the podcast. By all means, be my fucking guest.
That's right. Any negative energy is good energy in this business, right?
Exactly.
Oh, that is
All right.
good.
Your partner says, do whatever you want. What does this sentence actually mean?
Yeah, I think we definitely need some clarity there because are we talking hall pass movie style, do whatever you want? Are we talking, you know, go out on a shopping spree and use my credit card and do whatever you want? I mean, we need to really get some clarity here because those are two very different realms.
So I guess it depends on like the type of conversation that you're having. When I first heard that, I just thought of like someone being frustrated and being like, all right, whatever, do whatever you want. So in
Okay.
my head, if I'm saying it, abort mission, absolutely do not do whatever you want because I will hold it against you later.
So that's some psychological warfare and it's kind of messed up. But hey, I hear you.
Listen, it may be some psychological warfare and it may be messed up, but I'm human. So it is what it is.
Hey, that's what we're here to do is talk about our humanness, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, what about you look ugly in a group photo, but everyone else around you looks amazing. Are you posting it because everyone else tells you to?
No, I don't care. If I look ugly, I'm not posting it. I will send it to you and you are more than welcome to post it, but do not tag me. And if I look good and everyone else in the group photo looks ugly, that messes up the photo. So I
You're still
probably
posting it.
won't post it. No, I probably won't post it if everyone else looks bad because then it looks like, damn, this girl's conceited. Like she just posted this picture because everyone else looks bad. That's my thought process on it. However, if at least two of the people in the group photo look good, including me, then yes, I'm going to go ahead and post it because majority rules.
Okay. I see. You know, I get the fairness level there. I really do. And then the other person just doesn't get tagged if you think they look like shit. Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Because then what if they
Cause
weren't
I know
expected?
they, cause I know my friends and I know they're not going to want me to tag them. So I just won't tag them. And as long as I don't tag them, they're like, whatever. Cause we may not have mutual friends, we're all older now and we have adult friendships. So we don't always all like run in the same circles. My circles are so siloed, like they don't care.
Understood.
What about you?
Yeah. I mean, it's very rare that I think I'm like, damn, I look good in a photo. And then let alone me feeling like that in a spotlight setting where like I have a whole bunch of other people around me. I don't know. I feel like I don't have that very often because of my insecurities. But if I am taking a photo and I look good, I would expect the people around me to also input at that time. And because I'm assuming we would take the phone out and go, oh, let's see it here, everybody. What do you think? If one person's like, oh my God, I fucking hate that, don't do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not that petty friend. But if nobody says anything, okay, that's free game. It's not my fault.
Listen, if someone says they absolutely hate it and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm repulsed by it, then no, I will not do that. But if someone's like, I don't like how I look, then I feel like that's fair game.
I agree with you there.
Okay. So someone says, I'll let you know instead of giving plans.
I would. I'm.
I already know you're like, hell no.
I say, okay, so you're not gonna let me know. So you're not
Right.
coming. Like I'm just right up front. I've done that.
Yes.
Like, okay, so you can just tell me you'll pencil me in and erase me later. I think I've actually said that to someone.
I could see that because you are very like direct. And I would even say like you don't seem to fear confrontation at all because you'll say that and that could be something that's confrontational depending on who you're talking to. And I think for me, if someone says like, oh, I'll make plans, I'll say, okay. And then everyone knows, like, or at least My sister knows it this for sure because she's like, "This is my favorite thing that I do," is I say, "Okay," like, very deadpan, like, you could have said a full sentence, and if I didn't like what you said or I don't agree, but I don't feel like arguing or giving any energy back, it's just, "Okay." So someone says that to me, and then I just make other plans, and then when they come back to me with, like, concrete plans, I'll be like, "Oh, damn, my bad. Too late, like, I've already made other plans," and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, you weren't firm on your plans, so I did something else." That's kinda how that works for me.
Yeah, totally understand. All right, next one for you. Your friend gets back with a person that everybody hates and they were excited when they left them.
That one is so hard. Honestly, like, I just feel like it's happened so often with my friends where I'm like, if they're talking about a guy or girl or whatever, right? And I'm like, okay, this is only the first time you've decided to not fuck with them anymore. We'll see how you feel later. I'm just very much like fluid, like whatever you're feeling, I'm feeling kind of thing because I know how that is. Cause like, listen, I don't care if you hate my man. You better not talk about my man to me. We got a problem if you do. So I don't talk about nobody's man. I don't talk about nobody's girl. Like, that's your business. And then when you're down and you're like, no, fuck them, I'm like, yeah, fuck them. But if you're like, "Oh, fuck them, but I love them," I'm like, "Okay, let's play some devil's advocate. Where did you go wrong here? How could you?" I'm trying to help the relationship. But other than that, like I'm not if you invite someone back in and that's for you, you like it, I love it. I'm not going there. What about you?
I think of the show You. Have you watched that?
Yes, I love Joe, and that's
All right.
probably really fucked up.
I know. So obviously they make him be the protagonist slash antagonist in the same sense, but I love it. I love it. I don't know. I think about that because all those friends around these women are trying to be like, no, this guy's bad. He's terrible for you. And they're like, oh, okay, but he's so hot and he's charismatic and I love him and he's successful and he's great and bad and all these things. But he murders every single one of you. So I think that's a huge extreme. Obviously, it's a show, but I mean,
That's an
that shit can
exception.
happen. It can happen. But also, I mean, if we're talking in a real personal sense, I was that friend, that had the boyfriend that everybody hated because he was an alcoholic, as we mentioned in, former episodes, and he was all of these terrible things to me. And everybody wanted him out of my life, and I kept going back to him after leaving him, after, being broken up for months. And I would be with him for another couple of years. I'd do it again. And it was like Boy That Cried Wolf. I couldn't even talk about it anymore because it was so embarrassing. I'd be like, okay, hey, this is going on in my life. And they'd be like, yeah, I know. I fucking told you to leave. He's terrible. Get out of there. What are you doing? And I'm like, I know, I'll do it. And I know it's so hard. I love him. He loves me. He forget and all the things when you're so fucking wrapped up in abuse and mental trauma. It's just something that looking back now, go, wow, you were that person so fucking bad. And I defended and I dodged and I weaved and I avoided and I iced out because it was easier than having to explain that I was still allowing myself to go through those. So yeah, that's what I would do is wake the fuck up.
I can completely understand that. I had a guy that I was off and on with, and whenever he would come back, or like I would get a text message, if my friend would see it, as soon as she saw his name come up on my screen, she'd be like right away, like X'd out, no. And then that's all she would say. And then I would talk, and she would just be like, that's your thing. But you know what she would just do that and wouldn't say anything else. And that I liked. Like I didn't mind. I was already like, I know, but that I didn't mind. So let's switch it up. You see someone from high school thriving after being mean to you. How do you feel about that?
I feel like their karma still hasn't hit them.
I like that approach. Mine, I wish mine was like that. I think mine wasn't high school necessarily, but like I did see someone from college thriving, like really thriving, like very luxurious life. And it's someone that I just thought was like not a nice person. And I was just green with envy, and not necessarily envy, I would say. I was just like, why does this happen to this person? Like, who doesn't deserve that? So I guess, yeah, that would be envy. And I literally like deleted her from my Instagram and then deleted friends that knew her so that I didn't have to see that. But I think social media, and if it wasn't for the podcast, I would really just wanna delete my social media because it really does fuck with your brain sometimes.
Hmm.
Because I don't know what she might be a great person now, I don't know. You know what I mean? But I was just like,
Yeah, I really avoid any situation where I have to make nicer small talk with people from high school, especially since I'm not in the same state I went to high school in. That makes it real easy. But they're having the 20th reunion coming up. They are doing it in a bonfire setting in somebody's backyard, and they're trying to get all these people there for like a party in the middle of the country, probably doing keg stands.
"Oh, I don't
I'm
like
like, what
that."
the? I could
It's
literally be less interested watching this versus pigs mate while eating shit at the same time. Like
dude,
like I
that
have
is so
zero
weird,
interest in being involved in this fucking weird bonfire class reunion held at someone's house. What the fuck are we
honestly.
doing?
I'm stuck on the pigs mating, to be honest.
Look, I grew up in the country in some aspects of my life, so I think I have the right to talk about this shit. It's a whole different world. My spirit days used to be bring your tractor to school day. We would have country song spirit weeks. I'm just telling you, I'm not a country fan. And I actually
Well, I
moved
do like
schools
country.
between elementary and middle school. And then seventh grade, I went and lived with my mom. So I went from a huge city school and then went to this small country town.
This big, small
Yeah, this
country
big, small
town.
country town. What a shit show that was.
Lord. Well, you see somebody who you loan money to, and now they're posting Starbucks daily. What's your thoughts?
Well, this is my mother. She borrows money from my family members, and then she tries to buy Christmas gifts with that money for all those family members. And then she will buy electronics or appliances. She tried to buy my sister an iPad once for Christmas after borrowing money from my sister. My sister was like, "I'm sorry, I could have bought myself an iPad. I just loaned you money. What the fuck are we doing?"
Right. This doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't think I've noticed that or paid attention to it. To be honest, if I loan someone money, I just assume that I'm not going to get it back. So that way I don't have to be worried about it or freaking out. But also, I don't loan money very often just because, like, we got 4 kids to feed. Like, that's not the kind of party we have. So I don't really loan money often. And if I do, it's not like large amounts. So it's not something that I care too much about. If I had the money to be able to loan to you, then go ahead and just keep it and get me back later, get me back next time, take me out to dinner, whatever. It's not something where I'm like, "Hey, I'm counting your pockets and I'm looking and I'm seeing you posted Starbucks or something like that," because I assume you asked for that money to pay for maybe a specific bill that has nothing to do with you getting Starbucks. So, I'm very much like, if I loaned it to you, I don't expect it back so that I can avoid having those feelings in the future.
Totally makes sense. So, next one for you is your friend's new partner clearly hates the group that you have your friends in.
I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest, because I don't really have a friend group. I have very different, like, you know this, and you've met most of my friends, but my friends are not in a group. We're all the only thing they have in common. Well, they have other things in common, actually. If they were cool with each other, they would realize that because a lot of my friends have some of my similar things in common. But the thing is that I like so many different things and I'm interested in so many different things. I think my group is very like diverse in
Hmm.
interest, so I really just don't see that happening. If their partner doesn't like the group, I mean, really that would just mean they don't like me because it's not really a group. And I have had that happen before where people's partners don't like me because I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm not really very shy.
What?
Hey, what? And I'm very outgoing and like sometimes I'm loud. And if I'm drinking, I'm really loud. So I definitely have had friends, like partners, be like, "Yeah, she's a lot." And they'll be like, "Yeah, she is." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am. A lot of fun."
And two snaps.
And then I'm like, half the time, if they don't like me, I didn't like them. Because if you don't find me funny, then I really just can't fuck with you.
Yeah, toodles. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, if you don't like my group, then you shouldn't be with my people and get the fuck out. I mean, this isn't jail, it's not prison, and you are not locked up to be here. So,
Bye, boo. Do
bye.
your thing.
Yep.
So you hear we should totally hang out sometime.
Oh my God, I'm that person that says that. I'll be in the middle of a grocery store. If I can't dodge and weave, if I'm seeing them or something, I will have to do the whole, "Oh my god, we should totally, like, have lunch whenever you're free," and I'm guilty of it because I know as soon as they say the same thing and they walk away, they're like, "We're never having lunch," and I'm like, "I fucking know, right?" But, it's just I do it. It's a formality. It's better than not saying it. I don't know. I
Don't
don't
say
know.
it's better than not saying it when I'm definitely gonna say that I actually will, like, avoid. If I see someone that, like, I know I don't wanna hang out with or whatever, I will try to go the other way and hope that they didn't see me, and if they did see me, I hope that they got the message so we didn't have to have an awkward conversation.
Yeah.
I feel bad for saying that, am I messy? Like, for instance, like, I saw somebody one time that I knew, and I was like, I really don't want to have a conversation with them. They liked me, but I was like not a fan of them. They really annoyed me. And they were getting on the elevator, and I was like, I had my earphones in. So I just kind of was like acting oblivious, and I closed the door of the elevator so they wouldn't get in.
I do that.
Thank God. I was like,
Yeah, I just had that cruise that, we went to Mexico, and there was a lot of elevator action going on, and I don't got
elevator
time.
action?
I
What
don't
kind
got
of
time.
action?
Well, I mean, like, zipping in and out of there, trying to avoid a whole bunch of people. I mean, every time you get in the elevator, you're, like, jam-packed with, like, 10 plus people. I already had claustrophobic tendencies. I'm a germaphobe. I don't want people on me and touching me or coughing near me. Get the fuck out of my
Exactly.
way.
And I
Click,
don't
click,
like
click,
when
click, click.
people talk in small places because I can smell your breath pretty well.
Duh, yeah,
And it's
mhm,
like, "Can you just shut up?" Like, I
yeah.
don't wanna talk. I just when I don't know, elevator, I don't wanna talk. Like, it's funny because Dawn is the introvert, I'm the extrovert, and I usually will talk to people, but, like, when we get on the elevator, I'm like, "Close it, close it, close it," and he's, like, laughing because he's like, "You know what? You got a little introvert in you somewhere, because you definitely have your moments where I'm like, 'Don't talk to me.' Brick wall."
I mean, I don't want no strangers up in my elevator business. Get out of my way. Wait till the next ding, bitch.
My elevator business.
All right, last
Gosh.
one. Someone says
Yeah.
I'm not dramatic before doing something, dramatic.
I mean, honestly, like, I don't know what one of my friends would say that because all of my friends are pretty dramatic, given I'm dramatic. The majority of my friends are also dramatic, so I can't even picture any of them saying that. Let's see if I could picture someone else saying that, then I just am like, I feel like you just want to get attention or you want someone to validate you and be like, no, you're not being dramatic. That's valid. And it could be valid, but you could still be being dramatic.
Mm,
Two things can be true. That's my favorite thing right now. It's my
duality,
thing.
that's right.
So, what about
Yeah.
you?
It's like saying, I say it like it is, while also saying like it is to someone behind their back. It's that person that's like, oh, I'm blunt as hell. I have no issue saying whatever I feel. And then they're talking shit about their best friend behind their back. I feel like it's the exact same scenario. I'm not dramatic, but here I'm this explosive bitch. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Sit the fuck
Mm,
down. Nobody needs your performative bullshit. We don't, what are you doing? Who are you trying to prove shit to? Your
you
insecurities
trying
are
to
all over the
impress?
place. Yeah, like, sit down again. We don't
Yeah.
need it.
No, I could totally see that. And I understand that where it's like I just feel like sometimes people say things like that because they want someone to validate the opposite, even though they know that they are. Like it's like someone who is fishing for compliments and who's like, "Oh my god, I'm so ugly." And they're like dressed to the nines and their makeup is like flawless and I'm like,
Hmm.
you spent a lot of time to not be ugly, and here you are. You want me to give you a compliment, which is crazy because I'm definitely like quick to give somebody a compliment. But when
If they do
someone
that,
does that, I'm just like,
no. And actually, I've even said this to a friend before. I'll be like, you know what? I'm not even going to feed into your bullshit. You know it. I'm
I'm
not
not
doing
gonna,
it.
I'm like, have you said that to me before? Like,
I
bitch,
don't think
shut
so, not
up.
to you. I've definitely said it to a couple other people or who are like, "Oh, I'm so hot," like, literally would say that in a photo shoot or something, and I'm
I
like,
know
"Yeah,
it's
I know you think that. Like, I know you think that. Yeah."
I know today, like for the podcast, you were like, come on, you look fine, girl, let's go. And so
Ugh,
I saw that after we hopped on and I died laughing. We just wanted to have some fun, guys, and just do some rapid fire. Would love to hear, we always ask for engagement. Would love to hear some answers to these questions that we asked from you guys. So please, like, comment, share, We want to hear from you. You know, you can comment under wherever you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever. But also, the best place to talk to us and to really get us to, engage and comment back and things like that is going to be our Instagram or TikTok, which is Align Anyway podcast. So, really want to hear from you. But we're going to dig into our topic, which is power dynamics that people don't really talk about. And, we kind of shared a little bit about what that was and what we would get into. But before we do, I really just kind of wanted to find out, Josh, how was your weekend? It's Mother's Day today that we're recording anyway. When you guys hear this, it won't be Mother's Day anymore. But, sometimes Mother's Day, has a lot of feelings that come up for people. So how are you feeling today?
My mom and I don't have a relationship, if I got to be real about this. So when I have Mother's Day, I get a little bit angry. I guess the word is numb. Very
Okay.
different than angry. And I say this because normally around this time, I would feel sad. I haven't spoken to my mom in almost 3 years. And then I was talking to her for about 6 months before I had not spoken to her for another 3 years. So, long story short, she made a really bad comment about my skin cancer. And it was around the time of my wedding, around COVID. And I just thought that she was being a really black cloud over the entire day in the event. And I was asking her to see my point of view that I was being extra sensitive. COVID was around. People didn't know if they can even make it due to travel restrictions. Money, was not really the problem, but then we just had the death of Dylan's brother. So that was still like looming over our
Mm.
spirits. So there was like a lot going on.
It's a
So I was,
lot, yeah.
it was probably one of the hardest times of my life, if I'm being honest, while also still trying to celebrate the happiest time of my life.
That is hard to do because you have these mixed emotions. You're like, I should be so happy, but I feel sad. And then you feel shame for feeling sad when you should be happy. And that
Yes.
word should, like, my therapist tells me it needs to exit my vocabulary because the shoulds is what really holds me up. Well, I should feel this way. This person should do that. And it's like, where are we getting those things from? And it adds this additional pressure to us. I just want to say, I hate that, you do feel sad on this day. And I know that a lot of people do or can, depending on whatever their dynamics are. But I'm glad that, this year you were in a better space and able to get yourself in a better space just to be able to move forward and deal with that and then making a tough choice to exit toxicity is really hard. And I just want to say, like, regardless of what, like, I commend you for putting yourself first because it can be very hard, especially with parents. And, I have my own complicated situation with both my parents, really. My dad passed away in 2020 around the COVID time. So his funeral was around COVID time. So, people really couldn't come. So I completely understand about having like a large event and what COVID kind of did around that
Hmm.
time
Yeah.
for the event. So for me, and this is my third Mother's Day since being a bonus mom, I'm very much like, I think it's important for children to have as many people in their life that love them as possible. And it was really a big deal for me to have a relationship with them and not just like as a group, right? Because it's four, but each of them individually. And each of my relationships with them individually is different. And they each have like a different pace. And, something for me that kind of makes me sad around this day is like, stepmoms, I feel like don't really get any recognition on Mother's Day and it could be a complicated situation. This year, just really grateful. Don made me feel great and just kind of acknowledge all the things that I do for the family. And we had a great day.
My stepmom and I, because my dad and I don't have a good relationship by nature, by proxy, I don't have one with her, so it's nothing that she's done necessarily wrong, but that's just kind of what the nature of the beast is when you're going through a family rift like that. But my mom and I have some pretty deep shit going on. So it's almost like mourning when I'm going through Mother's Day. So I'm sure it kind of feels like that to you too when you're having to want the appreciation and recognition from the people around you when you're not getting it because they don't see you as a true mother. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter what anybody else around you thinks. It doesn't matter what anyone says to you. It doesn't matter if you get a fucking happy Mother's Day from these people. What matters is that these kids know you love them and that the father and the mother of those kids know that you care and love them. And that's all that fucking matters. So everything else around you is just noise that doesn't need to be heard.
You're right. And I'm just in the process of finally truly being able to clear out the noise and just listen to my own voice and listen to people that, are there for me and just kind of like let stuff fall off my back and just be like, okay, whatever. Like, I know where to put you kind of thing. Just put people in their boxes and keep them there is really just where I'm at. But, we wanted to delve into power dynamics and I wanted to start with essentially kind of where this came from. So guys, said that we were to talk power dynamics and then it kind of switched to talking about like work and burnout and things like that and what that does in a relationship. And where that came from is I really just wanted to call out like a specific company. My fiance worked for Starbucks and it is absolutely asinine the amount of hours they expected him to work. He is a salary employee and he was expected to come in whenever a barista would call out or be on vacation, whatever the case may be, right? He's expected to come in. That means he could be working 60, 50 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours, but only getting paid for 40 hours, right? Not getting any overtime, not getting any additional pay. So essentially working for free.
Exactly.
Why the fuck Why? Why would he do that? And the amount of stress that that put on him and the relationship and his family. And I'm just so sick of these companies not caring about work life balance and not caring about what they do to the family. And it's so funny because we claim to be people first, right? These companies, that's what they say they want, right? These big conglomerates, they care so much about people and mental health is like a new thing now. Like people want to brag about, oh, we have EAP for people and things like that. Yeah, but you don't give them any time to actually do it. You don't give them time to go to therapy. You don't give them time to go to the doctor because you expect them around the clock 24/7. That is a crazy expectation. And I just want to know and just hear from you and hear what your thoughts are. But when did burnout become something people brag about instead of something they heal from? Because I still do hear people who brag about, when I say people, I'm talking about upper leadership. I'll hear them say things like, well, I work 24/7. I don't go to bed until I've checked every single email. I'm sorry, but that's not a flex.
I think that's sad. I wonder, what time are you missing out on in your life? What experiences could you be living through yourself or others just by getting the time back? But what you are doing is you're forcing your soul, sweat, blood, tears into a company that will fill the wreck as soon as you leave that company. They don't give a shit about you the way you give a shit about them. In the grand scheme of longevity, they don't give a shit about you. They have the compliance to give a shit about you. And I do believe that companies do put activities forth more than others in order to show you that they do. I think our company, for example, has a really good way of doing that for the employees. I work for companies that were startup that didn't really have the means or the funds to give a shit about their employees the way they should. I've had big corporations where I was a multi-unit manager and I've had to be the one kind of providing those resources to other people in a higher volume scenario. There's been a lot of different avenues that I've taken in my career that have had to either be the support partner or me, needing the support resources myself and having to go through that process. But I can say that it's all based on the middle management leadership. It's all based on who directly works with you. If they support you, you're going to get the resources you deserve. If they don't support you, you're kind of pushed out to the curb until you feel like you have to leave because you're so unhappy and miserable.
I thought that too. But in this scenario, with what I have been privy to see with what Don has gone through, I had blamed it on his manager, right? I was like, she's not standing up for you. She's not having the tough conversations with leadership that she needs to have. She's not training her team. All of those things were true. You know me. I can look at a leader, take just a couple things and kind of assess what kind of leader they are and if they're going to be successful or not. There's no way she can lead successfully the way that she is leading. You know what I mean? She doesn't set clear expectations. There's no clarity, there's no training, there's no tell, show, do, review. There's none of that. You know what I mean? And I don't really think that it's her fault though. I think that the company as a whole, Starbucks, has a flaw. They do not care about their people. And to show that they care about their people, because they had where people were protesting, and they were protesting due to workers' rights because they
Yeah,
treated their workers so
they were
horribly.
trying to unionize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think they were treating the baristas really bad. And then so what they did was like flip it. And now they treat the managers like shit, and they give the baristas whatever. But what it did was it created this culture where everybody could just call out whenever and do whatever they want. And then they were like, okay, manager, salary employee, you go ahead and cover it because I don't have to pay you overtime, which has to be in some way fucking illegal. How is that fair? And then you know what? I hate this because salary is a scam, because it is a way to be able to try to say, we're going to have you work all of these hours that you're not getting paid for, right? I understand I'm salary, right? I understand if I may have to work 45 hours because of a fluke incident or something happened, I got to step up to the plate. Totally understandable. But every single week, I should never hit 50 hours, 55 hours, 60 hours. That means 20 hours are not accounted for, that I'm not being paid. That means 20 hours away from my family. That means 20 hours where I was not able to schedule a doctor's appointment. I cannot take care of my health. Sleep is not happening correctly. That means that oxygen is not getting to the brain. That means that there is no way in God's green earth that I am going to be able to perform at the level of excellence that you want, because you won't allow me to get the rest that's required in order to do so. And I'm getting so upset because these companies are full of shit. And I really wish that they would just tell the truth and be like, hey, this is the situation. We expect you to work for free. Fucking say that shit. Don't be wasting people's time.
Well, no, there'd be a lawsuit. They can't. They have to just put standards and expectations in place to where you feel like you're absolutely going to get fired if you don't follow those rules and unruly expectations until you absolutely bust and break.
And then you lead with fear and anxiety, and then you expect burnout to not happen. How do you expect someone to operate at
Easiest way to kill the
a
culture,
level?
because it's not just coming from you. Then as a manager, it all trickles down, because then you hate your job, your team members feel like you hate your job, and they know it's coming from the higher up, and then they don't respect the company because they know it's not you, because maybe they like you as a person and your leadership style. But there's only so much you can do as a store manager, or that type of level of management. So it does suck.
And then what happens is that, think about what that does to your mental. A lot of us, and we talked about this, right? Who are we without the title? But a lot of us tie our worth to our title, to how well we do at work. And if you're not doing well and you're not doing well, and your manager or whoever has you thinking that you're not doing well because of you, because you're not submitting things on time, or you messed up the schedule, you didn't schedule appropriately, whatever the case may be, but they're not taking into consideration that those things likely happened because there's lack of sleep, there's lack of time, because I'm not acting and performing as a manager. You basically have me as a glorified barista, and you're wondering why admin tasks don't get completed. You do not allow me the proper staffing in order to adequately have me do my fucking job. That is the problem.
It's terrible. It's an awful culture. And, it's happening not just at Starbucks, but it's happening everywhere. My husband was working for a bank. He was there for maybe a week. His first
Wow.
2 days, his manager had put him in the back room. Here's your videos. Let me know if you need anything. So he already was upset because he was like, I want to get trained. Like, this video doesn't do anything. And I don't learn this way. Like, I learn better when I can combine both worlds of the training and the physical aspect of seeing it, touching it, doing it. And his manager would avoid him every chance he would ask a question. He would like walk up to her office and she'd like slam the door in his face before he'd even walk up. Stupid, disrespectful shit like that. So one day he went to, this is like day 4, he went to go like walk up to her office at the end of the night just to see if we can get a recap of my training and just to let you know what I've learned. And he walked up, she shut the door, And then he opened it. He's like, no, 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 we're not doing this. And he was like, hi, Susan. And she put her finger in his face and goes, I just shut the door. What don't you understand? And he came home crying. He was like, oh my God, what do I do? I was like, well, what we're not going to do is let that be tolerated. So we ended up writing a letter to the CEO of this company. We got to the desk. We have talked to the HR representative, the secretary of the CEO. We wrote an exit interview email. We got a hold of the district manager who refused to return the calls of my husband, at least three or four of them in a row. They tried to make him seem like he was being unreasonable. That he was like, well, I don't want to deal with this. Nobody should have to be treated like this. This manager was talking shit about the company to this brand new employee, i.e., my husband. And like so many awful things that I can't even continue to talk about because it just would take up the whole episode. And I just said, look, you're quitting. You're quitting. I don't care what amount of money you're making or what you thought this was going to do to fix your mental health. No job is worth this shit. I cannot allow you to continue to be put through this mental shit. So he quit, and it took him about 3.5, 4 months to get a new job. But ultimately, he found a job that was great. Now they laid him off later on, so it wasn't so great at the end of it. But in between that, he did move on and transition into another career. It's just unreal that people actually still treat their employees this way. Nobody's going to make my husband cry and get away with it.
You know what? I literally, and this is why you were like the perfect person for me to go to as we are going through this. And so, we're at a place where Don, one of his employees, essentially called him a racial slur. I don't think I shared this part with you. Called him a racial slur in a text. It's just very highly, highly
In a text?
inappropriate in a text.
Wow.
And I saw it and I literally, like, he was telling me about it and my legs started shaking and I started crying. And then I freaked out and I was like, I can't have you do this. This is insane. There's no way you can go through this. Like, you gotta go. It's time. Like, fuck that. Like, no way is this gonna be something that's acceptable, that is allowed, that is tolerated, or you even the fact that you don't want to report it because you're like, well, if I do, then I don't have anyone to work. I have to work more hours. That is insane
I know.
that you are fearful because then you're like, well, this is going to be more time away from my family. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Can we afford it? Hell no. We're a family of six. We cannot afford it. But you know what? This is where that duality comes into play. And I have to have a little bit of faith. I have to believe that this is the right decision and that we'll be rewarded for making a tough decision and for not standing for mistreatment, not standing for allowing a company to get away with this mistreatment. Like, over my dead body, will you go back there and deal with that fucking shit?
That's
And
exactly how I felt.
that is where I had never been so like visibly like mad. Like, and then of course he's like, no, I gotta stick it out, bills, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. We'll live in the fucking street. I don't give a shit. We're not doing that.
No, in a world where technology exists, we have Uber Eats, we got Instacart, we got Shipped, we got Amazon Flex. There's money to be made. You got to go grab it. You are not helpless anymore. If you go out there thinking you're screwed, there's an avenue. It might not be the avenue you want right now. It might not be
And
as
it might
much.
not be as much, right? But
It's something.
at least one person has an income and we can carry it. And this is where we talk about like power dynamics in relationships and things like that. Because I do feel like, especially in heterosexual relationships, a lot of the times when the man is down and out, women specifically are like, deuces, well, y'all ain't married yet. You could leave him. Excuse me? I said yes. So, like, in my head, we are married. I do plan on getting married. He is an amazing man and he knows his stuff. And have front row and center to what has been going on. I can see everything and I know that what is going on is toxic as fuck and should not happen. I'm a leader, so I can see things from leadership perspective, right? So I'm like, why would that be your first instinct? And it's like this masculine, feminine thing, right? Men.
I
Men
know.
bring home the bacon and
I know.
men do this and men do that. And women feed into that. And I'm not gonna lie, like I feed into that too. It's an insecurity that I have that people are going to judge me if they know about the situation. But really, it should be like, fuck this. That's why I decided like I wanted to change the podcast topic and talk about this because I'm gonna stand 10 toes down for my man and for my family. And I don't doubt for a second that he would do the same for me. But it's frustrating the judgment that you get if people know the inside of what's going on when you're in a heterosexual relationship. Or I think it's also just given that he has kids and I do not, that people are like, see this disparity, right? And it's like in life, there's always going to be disparity and there's always additional baggage that comes with each person. But how can I say that I'm ready to be married? I'm ready to be someone's wife if at the first sign of struggle, I'm like, bye, struggle by yourself. What the fuck? What kind of person does that make me? And if you're a woman out there, a man or whatever, and that is your first instincts to run, I get it. You're scared. But if you actually do run, and this is a person who is actively trying, wants to get a job, who's willing to do the work and has the skills and things like that, and you decide to just leave them when they're down and out, you're a cunt. And you're going to have your bad karma come back on you. And that's my viewpoint on that.
Well, the viewpoint from a gay man's perspective is that whoever can pick up the tab picks it up, which should be the same in a hetero relationship. But for us, it's, yes, there are the gender norms. Usually the more feminine portrayal male is considered the female in society's eyes, and the more
Okay.
masculine person would be considered the male. Now, in my opinion, I think it's fucked up that people even see that as something that has to be done, because why do we have to compare ourselves to a relationship that isn't ours? There is no male or female. We are male and male. If I want to be a feminine personality, I'm going to be a feminine personality. If I want to present as a masculine personality, I'm going to present as a masculine personality. But it doesn't mean that I need to fit the cultural expectation that you think there needs to be a male and a female comparison because we feel like we need to be you or in the presence of your type of relationship. And that's so fucking far from the truth. I actually, now that I'm talking about it, I get a little bit angry. I get a little bit steamed up on this one because people do a lot of comparison to that. Oh, well, who's the man? Who's the relationship? Who's the top? Who's the bottom? I would love to go up to a straight couple and go, how you banging her tonight? And see how that goes over really well. Oh, are you on the bottom usually? Or are you on the top? No, doesn't work out well for you? All right. Happy
People ask
fucking
you that
yeah, all the time. Who's the male and who's the female? I can't tell you how many times I've gotten that.
from
And I'm like,
friends.
yeah, and strangers. And I usually come back with some honest remark like, well, we both have dicks, so I'm going to say we're both men in the relationship. And then that shuts them right the fuck up because, oh, yeah, I'm an asshole usually gets thrown in their head right in that moment. I'm
I would
just so
just not,
fucking sick of it.
I would just not think to ask that. Like,
People are
you know,
disgusting and they're completely ignorant. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, but I really hate the idea of like the gender norms in relationships, even though it's like I hate it. But just like, I talk about consumerism and how much I hate that, but like I'm also a part of the problem. I can say that I am a part of the problem when it comes to those like gender norms. Like, I definitely, when I was thinking about what I wanted in a relationship, it was definitely like, I want a man that makes, you know, six figures ain't enough in this economy. So I want a man that makes seven, eight figures. I want this and I want that. And we think that it has to be the man. But I don't think I ever really thought like that in that case. My main thing was like, I want a man who's supportive and who's ambitious and who thinks outside the box and who will support my projects and who will have his projects of his own that I can support. And like, we can do things that make us money that we're passionate about and interested in. And I don't think that that has a gender. And so what I'm learning right now is like a true lesson in love and how you really show up for someone. And that doesn't mean that there's not fights and there's not arguments and there's not things that anxiety and fear cause to come up, right? And that I don't always say the right thing. But what I am saying is, if you're in a relationship and you love this person, you're committed and you plan on getting married, whatever the case may be, like, what does 10 toes down look like for you? You know what I'm saying? And I really want to know, for richer or poor, in sickness and in health, you down? right? Because it's not just like sickness, physical sickness. It's mental health, right? You know, when Don came into this relationship, he was very much aware that I was bipolar. And it was so cute because he found out because he read my book before we
Yeah.
even went on our first date.
Yeah.
And he looked up videos about bipolar, looked up medications, and really tried to educate himself. And so there's a lot of give and take in relationships. And it just is it's frustrating because what ends up happening is you don't even know what the relationship is really made of sometimes because you're stuck in survival mode. And so it's like, I really just want to know how amazing and how great this relationship could be if it wasn't for bullshit economy, jobs, outside stress sitting on top of the relationship. We don't get to really see what the relationship is because the fucking bubble is always being penetrated by some fucking bullshit.
I think we allow ourselves to be penetrated, though. I know that sounds really bad. That sounds, I mean, or is it bad? I don't know. That could
I
be
mean,
good.
we do allow ourselves to be penetrated, I would hope, because consent and everything.
Yeah, that is something we kind of need in this scenario. That's
Right.
true. No, I think we do. I think we put ourselves up for that self sabotage. I think that we put ourselves through torture in that sense.
I could see that because I feel like I put myself through torture, right? And because I do let things penetrate the bubble. And we used to talk about all the time, like our bubble, our safe space. And it's like we can create that again, regardless of the stress and things coming on, like going on. Like once we get to the house, like create that bubble of safe space. But what's the difference between helping your partner through a hard season and enabling dysfunction? Because I think that's my problem. I'm like, oh, but I want to make sure that I'm not being an enabler. How do you know when you are? How do you know when you're not? How do you know when this person is going to get it together and maybe they just don't do things like you do things? Because, you know, you and I are very like, boom, 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 boom. We're quick. We're going to get on it right away. And not
Yeah, we
everybody's
are.
like that. So, how do you deal with that? And you've dealt with this before,
I
so
have. Yeah, I'm an expert, I feel like now at this point. Between my job loss and my husband's 3 layoffs between the 8 years we've been together, we've just been through it, in terms of being in the different shifts of power dynamics. I'm usually the one that has been more mentally ready, I guess, to tackle it. Initially, I take it pretty hard. Takes me about 3 to 4 days to grasp my mentals. And then I'm like, okay, we got to get the fuck on. So let's go. In the scenario where I am not the one in the scenario of loss of job, career, whatever, I would say that I am the pusher, which is very anxiety inducing. I'm only imagining because I'm trying to help. I'll get your LinkedIn set up. Let's get your resume going. I'll send you jobs. I'll follow up on those jobs. Did you call them? Did you follow up on the email? I'm so to the point where like you can't get lost, but the
I'm the same.
expectation is so high you'll never be able to succeed. Because to me, it's like you're not doing enough. You can be doing more. You need to set a set schedule. You need to be on LinkedIn from 12 to 4. Whatever it is. Like I've done it and it worked for me. So I think that's going to work for somebody else when I went through that same shit. When I lost my job, I went through this feeling of like not being worthy of any other career, even though I wanted to try something new and not knowing if my transferable skills would really truly be seen in the eyes of someone that's looking at my resume or even AI that's processing the words I'm putting on this paper. So I had to really process that like, oh my God, what do I do in this world where transformative AI is now taking over everything we do? And you had to learn algorithms, you had to learn keywords, buzz phrases. You had to take words from the exact job description and make different resumes per each job. It's like
It's
fucking ridiculous.
exhausting.
It's exhausting, and there's so much competition because everyone's going through it that you're just lucky enough to get seen. And then when you're seen, you're lucky enough to get chosen. And then by the time you get through that process where you start to feel like you're finally chosen, and then you got to start all over again because you don't get the position and you don't even know why. You get an automatic email from some fucking AI bot that's telling you you're not worthy and you just want to ask why. What can I do better next time? And you don't get that chance and you got to hope that the next person gives you that chance. But it just repeats itself on this fucked up cycle of abuse. And all you can do is hope and just keep wishing and trying and wishing and trying. And eventually you got to think that like you can't stay down forever or else you'll fall down. Eventually you got to lift yourself up and eventually you'll start walking again. And that's what I always tell my husband who's going through these scenarios is look, it's gonna eat you alive if you let it. But every day you got to come up and you got to think about what we got going on. We got this house, we got electricity, we got food, we have a car, the water's turned on. Like we're gonna be okay. We got to tighten it up. We got to peel back. I mean, if we got to sell something, I'll sell my MacBook. I'll sell a PlayStation. Whatever it is, we're gonna make it happen. We're not gonna drown. But you got to have the grit that you can do it, and you got to stop letting the shit eat you alive because it will. It absolutely will, and it can if you let it. But the great thing about it is, it doesn't stay dark forever, even in Alaska. So eventually the sunshine comes out to play.
You
And
know
when it
what?
does, you need to go out and play in it.
I really needed to hear that and in that way that you said that, and it's just like it is exhausting. Looking for jobs is another full-time it's a full-time job. You have to have several different versions of your resume, which is crazy.
Insane.
Like it shouldn't require all that. You have these different 3, 4 interviews. Like I should not have to go through this many people for you to make a decision. All that tells me is that the hiring manager isn't good at interviewing, or the recruiter isn't good at interviewing, and they're sending them bad people that shouldn't be to them. So I can understand that because that's happened before where recruiters send me people and I'm like, how did you get to my desk?
Yeah.
Why am I having this interview? What did you not? Because you had to go to someone before me. So I'm like, what's going on? And that's where some of the issue is there too. But it's just like also too, I'm really big on asking for feedback after an interview. And it's frustrating because the feedback that I got is, oh my God, you're amazing. But we went internal, or, but we're deciding to close the rec right now. But, there was someone who already had regional experience. And then I think that person had regional experience, but they didn't have banking experience. And I'm like, I have all this banking experience. You're going to, okay, whatever. Right. And you can't force them. And then you cannot allow that to be how you see yourself. Like it's really hard to get those rejections. And then once you get rejected, it's hard to be like, let me go interview again.
Yeah,
Cause you're
because
like, why?
why? Why do I put myself through this torture just to get excited to hopefully not feel this letdown again? Because every time you do, it takes a little piece of your soul and rips it out. And you just got to find a way to like pick it back off the floor somewhere. Hopefully, it's still out there. Hopefully, it didn't get vacuumed up because I need the soul, but I can't find it. It's awful. It's awful, and I never wish this feeling upon your worst enemy. But the only thing that's worse than going through a loss of a job is staying in a job that's absolutely ripping you apart one shred at a time. So if it takes that, you need to do that.
And on that note, watchers and listeners, I do have a message for you. Trust yourself. If you know something's not right, you can feel it. Now, I'm not saying go ahead and quit your job before having another one. I am not a fan of that. Okay. We do not do that around here. The only reason that happened here is because health is more important. And at this point, the health was detrimental. Right. And so that's when it's like, no, forget it. You got to go. Because when you pass, your company is probably not even going to close its doors because they have to operate business to let your team members, your work family, go to your funeral. And your rec is going to be posted that same week. You do not matter to them. You may matter to some people individually, but you do not matter to the company as a whole, right? So you come first and your family comes first. And I think millennial managers understand that more because we grew up watching our parents work until they die and not spend any time with us. And all they have to show for it was what? Money, I guess, that went to bills. It didn't even go to creating memories because they never had time to be off to create those memories. And we are now in a place where we can change that. And we are now in a place where we can speak up for what is right. And the most important thing to me on this earth is family. And unfortunately, I need a job to pay for bills to take care of my family. However, we will rally to make sure that our family is taken care of in the interim to be able to put health first. So if you're in a relationship, whether you be married, whatever the case may be, if you're working towards marriage and you want to be committed to this person, yo, really truly have their back and know what that means. And before you say I do, go through some shit first. I'd much rather go through some shit right now before I say I do than go through it later and realize, oh, damn, I don't. And now that I'm in this, I'm like, very much like, okay, obviously I already knew I loved Dom, but I'm like, damn, I really love him. Like, let's go. We're locked in. And obviously, I already thought that before, but I was able to turn like a negative situation into a positive situation as far as like the strength that I feel like the relationship has. And listening to how rocky it's been for you guys going through these major life changes earlier on in the relationship helps to really build a good foundation so that way you can go through life's ups and downs because that's all life is ups and downs, ebbs and flows, right? And like you said, you really have to learn to stand out in the sun, but you also have to learn to dance in the rain
You got to
because
dance
it
in the
ain't always going to
rain.
be sunny.
You also got to get out of bed to get able to dance in the rain. And that's something that I've learned a lot through these processes is that you just have to get up and keep fucking trucking. You don't let whatever's getting in your way get you down completely. You have a reason to feel upset. You have a reason to let it get you down. You don't have an excuse to let it tear you apart from who you are. So take your time, process the shit, but that shit needs to be fuel and energy. Consume it and move it forward because you need this motion to keep going forward, or else you're going to consume negative, awful fucking energy. You're just going to become this dark version of who you don't want to become. And whatever power dynamic you think you're involved in, know that it can shift. It's going to have to shift for things to actually change. When you need to lean in, you lean in. When you need to lean out, you lean out. And the power dynamic does not always have to be a constant fixated figure in your relationship, your career, or even your inner self. You need to just let the process be the process. I think that is a great place to end it tonight. Come back next week. We're going to be talking about jealousy that no one wants to admit because who wants to actually do that? I don't, but we're going to. So
I
come
mean,
back.
I did today, but you know, I'm all right with admitting stuff. But thank you, watchers and listeners. And please, please, please remember engage. It costs nothing to write a comment, to like, share. We really want to hear from you, but we appreciate you listening and thank you in advance. Good night, everybody.
Bye.